Good evening, folks. How are you today? You're welcome to another edition of Just Banter. My name, Habib Enyola. Interesting times in Nigeria. History is being made. A lot's going on. When I say a lot. It's a really and truly interesting times. Nigerian youth have been called all sorts of names, have been labeled all sorts of. It's unbelievable the amount of things that they have been called. And finally, they are awake. They've come out and they're saying that you don't know us. It's time for you to know us. There are ongoing protests all over the nation. Everywhere. Well, almost everywhere. Lagos, beehive of activities. Lekki Epe toll gate blocked. Access to airports blocked. Same thing with Abuja Airport. The access roads and all whatnot, a lot of traffic distorted. Even the FCT minister today misses to catch a flight out of Abuja. Now, what is all this about? Is it a case of it's a social revolution at play? Now, the Nigerian youth account for roughly about 70% of the population of over 200 million people. They've never really had a say. Now, the tipping point, I believe, for them has been the case of police brutality. This has been ongoing for several years. When I say several years, even when I was a youth, when I was much younger, I did have quite a few run-ins with members of the Nigerian police force under different auspices, different guises. They come up with all sorts of excuses and they do all sorts of stuff. No checks and balances, and they get away with it. Now, at the end of the day, we have to ask, is it truly their fault? Because people can only commit crimes if you give them the opportunity to commit crimes. So there's a lot that has been wrong with the system, quite a lot. I lost one or two dear friends way back when. One of them, his name is Bola Afilaka. He was shot and killed by the police. No evidence, no nothing on him that, he was an armed robber or whatever. But they called him an armed robber, a young guy, having fun with his friends. And then next they walked into a hospital where he ran into when they were and pulled him out. And then he was shot. They didn't leave him in the hospital. They didn't take him to a hospital. They actually put him with the gunshot wounds in the trunk of their car, and they drove around with him. He died in the early hours of the morning. It's probably not one of the saddest stories that you will ever hear when it comes to the issues of the Nigerian police. But Bola was a very popular guy. He was well loved by so many people. So it was quite a traumatic experience for all his friends, both close and far. More especially the ones that were with him that night, where they had hung out. Even some much earlier in the day. And there are so many other people that have similar stories to tell when it comes to the Nigerian police. In the course of this session that we're going to be having, this chat, we're going to play quite a few videos. But before we play any of those videos, I'm going to introduce into the studio an old friend of FromARadio.com, one of our main supporters as well, who's always there for us. Sometimes when we need legal advice, we reach out to him as well. He's a legal practitioner, but he's also a social rights activist. He's been at that for a long time as far as I know, because I know he's done quite a few pro bono cases for quite a few people based on the issue of their rights being abused. His name is Olumide Abdulkareem. Olumide.
Hi.
How are you doing today, my brother?
I'm good. I have to first apologize for I have to do this in the car. The roads back home are blocked for now because of the
protesters.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to get across the bridge into Lekki. So I just said, let me park and do this because I looked at the time. I thought I could get home before, but it's been backed up for a while. So I just said, okay, let me take my time and park somewhere. So apologies, but we'll have to run it from the car.
Olumide, we're glad to have you on the show.
Yeah,
Being in the car just it goes to show a small part of what is going on, the disruptions that everybody is suffering. Even though I've not complained about those disruptions, I actually think it's a good thing. I think
we can't complain.
We can't complain.
It's okay. First of all, I should mention it. Bola Aflaka is my cousin.
Oh wow, such a small world.
So I feel the pain of the struggle, and I know where it would be if he was still with us now. He was 19 years old when he was shot, and I feel the pain. I feel the pain of the protest and what has been going on, and it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. The people in government feel they don't still understand. You see, there's a divide. You see, as you said at the beginning of the program, Nigeria is 60%.
It's actually closer to 70%.
Yeah, 18 to 35, right? Or 18 to 45 now, like and all these people, they go through this, this trauma every day, especially in the southern cities. In the north, SARS, as they are called, they are not as bad as they are in the southern part of the country, but they've grown wings, over time, and the system has just encouraged and emboldened them, and the damage and what has been going on it's been bad. It's been horrific. So I'm I'm for the struggle. I support my in my only two way I can, and what we were not able to do, because when they killed Bola, we were all still in the university. That was in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
And I remember then, anytime you go out, if there are more than two guys in the car, you know that you're going to come back with a story. Is either you're going to get arrested, you're going to get delayed, you have to bribe them, something ugly happened. It was so difficult going out then that it came at times. He said, let's just stroll and just stay in the neighborhood. So I feel them, I support them. If the people in government don't realize that, things, it can't be the same anymore. Things can't be the same anymore. To the bottom of the pit, and everybody has woken up and said, yeah, the time has come. And SARS was beginning. Like a friend of mine said, if you look now on the road, there are checkpoints. That is, you've broken a chain of system, because everybody knows that from the checkpoints, any money they make, that and is moved EPO from the EPO is up. So they're kind of, which has been broken because no checkpoints on the. So I don't know this that the put was or I'm not involved in any party, but truth, if this check is going to get worse, and the boys are going to,
Sorry, Olumide, we seem to be losing you. The connection keeps going in and out. Can you hear us? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, we seem to be losing you. You seem to be going in and out. Hello, Olumide?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, yeah, you seem to be going in and out. So we keep losing you halfway in, halfway out when you're making a sentence. So we seem to be.
I can hear you.
Yeah, but we can't hear you because it keeps going in and out. Okay. For
Shall
the
I start?
viewers, I think what we'll do is we'll play some of the videos like we said earlier on. We seem to have lost Olumide there briefly. The internet connections all over the country have been a bit sketchy for a little while. We don't know if it's part of trying to disrupt the protests, trying to disrupt the stuff that people are doing when it comes to the NSAS protests across the nation. But we know that the network connections have been very bad. Now, we're going to play one of the videos for you. One of these videos, viewers' discretion is advised. Some of you might actually find some of the content distressing. We promise we're not going to show you any blood and stuff like that, but just for you to see some of the things that have been going on when it comes to the issue of the Nigerian police. We'll be back shortly after this.
In the shoot. In the shoot.
So we have Olumide back. Olumide?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, like I said, probably a case of maybe the disruptions to the service, probably because of the demand on the ISPs. A lot of people shooting live videos from whatever locations that they are as regards the protests. Now, we just saw a video of a policeman shooting sporadically.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we just saw a
something
video of a
about that.
police. Yeah, we just saw a video of a policeman shooting sporadically for no apparent reason. Who knows? Well, we could hear some of the people in the background saying, "In they shoot, meaning he's just shooting. Now, we've seen this happen several times where you actually see a policeman standing on the road and then he's shooting into the air. Is it a case of those bullets are not accounted for? Or what exactly? Why do things like that happen?
Habib,
Hello, Ludwig. Can you hear me?
Habib.
Yes.
Am I clear on your side?
Yes, you're clear. We can
Sorry,
hear you now.
I didn't get the question well. There was a lot of static.
Okay, all right. Can you hear now? Hello?
Hello, can you? Oh, shikes.
Hello, Olumide.
And this thing was good before we started. Hello,
Can you hear me?
are you with me?
Yes, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but it's not.
Well, like we said earlier on, it just keeps going in and out, in and out. We still don't understand why things like that are happening at this point in time. When there's such a demand, or probably it's that demand that's actually causing the trouble in terms of the connection. Maybe there's a lot of demand on the ISPs. People are shooting videos from every location. They are sending them out. They are tweeting. It's on Facebook. It's everywhere. Social revolution? We don't know. But what we do know for a fact is this. The Nigerian youths have decided at this point in time to use the Nigerian police force as the launch pad for social reforms in the country. The question we were trying to ask Olumide earlier on was, we saw a video, played a video a few seconds ago of a policeman actually shooting sporadically. Is it a case of the bullets are not counted, they're not accounted for? How would you just open fire in the midst of nowhere? What is the reporting process internally for the Nigerian police force that police officers can actually do that? If it was a case of there was a reporting process, would they have been able to, for instance, the Bola Afilaka that we mentioned earlier on, would they have been able to shoot him and then say somebody was shot? Just like that? Wouldn't they have had to report the process? Wouldn't they have had to say why he was shot in the first place? And we keep seeing things like this happening over and over and over again. I think we have Olumide back again. Hello, Olumide.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear?
I heard everything you
Okay.
said. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see,
So
first of
we're
all,
saying,
SARS,
yeah,
to answer, so you see, SARS, when they were established in 1984, and generally, they were given some kind of extra legal backing as regards, the way they operate. They don't,
okay,
they don't account for their bullets like standard, the other officers go out because of it was supposed to be a tactical unit handling armed robbery alone, not checkpoints on the road stopping Yahoo boys or the other stuffs. I was strictly for armed robbery, and they are stationed at particular areas and respond to only distress calls. But over time, they've gone a wall, and everybody's just doing anything they like. They stop at checkpoints, they go
yeah,
to houses, they bust into joints. They do anything at will because there is no law. There are no repercussions for their actions. That's why we
yeah,
are here. They are do whatever they want anytime they like, study, and all the videos I've been seeing, they will tell you they are going to shoot you, and you're going to look around and they're going to shoot you, and they know they're going to get away with it because they don't account for anything.
Now, when they don't account for
Hello,
anything, when they don't, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me, Olumide? Now, if they are not accounting for things like bullets and or whatnot, then what is the checks and balances in such a situation?
if they don't account for bullets and
stuff like that, what are the checks and
any
balances?
part of your
What are the checks and balances in place for such a situation? Can you hear me?
I think what you're saying is that are there any checks and balances for the use of their bullets, and do they account for it?
Yeah, or their firearms. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I just want to get the question right, Abib.
Yeah, that's what we are asking. That what are the checks and balances
Hello?
in such a situation? Can you hear us? Hello, Olumide. The network keeps going in and out.
You can see the connection. These are the issues. It's just the beginning. Why will I be on a 4G network where I pay the premium, whatever, and I can't have a video call in my car? These are that are going to be addressed from the end. SARS is just the beginning. Accountability and what you call for any action you take, there must be because you see the problem we have is that our government, our system all started from under the military era, and under the military era you don't account to the populace, the civilians that okay, we are going to have this meeting now, this is what we want. No, it doesn't work like under the military. We do what we want to do, and then we call you that this is the way you're going to go. If you disobey, we'll mess you up. So that system has always been, it has been a part of our admin. So the government don't feel they're entitled to tell us. The vice president said he's having some meetings, but you're not carrying the people along. You say after you're done, you're going to call us. It doesn't work like that anymore. Everything should be open, and transparent. And the only reason why it's not is because they have a different agenda for everything they do. If it's plain and simple, have the meetings on camera. Let everybody go ahead and see as you're making a decision. You are working for the people. It's not a private organization. And they don't understand. You see, everybody is worried that we hope this is not going to turn into something else and become a new Syria or a new Libya. Nobody wants that. But at the same time, we are not going to say because that this might lease. We are fine. They said if started end SWAT, is not end SWAT. Let's go ahead with it. everything will go back to normal in a couple of days. So unless they stand their ground and they finish with this, you have to tell them it is not business as usual. How can we make a complaint, go on the road and tell you that we don't want, and 2 days after you tell them, okay, remove it, now we have a new one. We know that the process inside the police does not work. So they're just going to move those guys, change their uniform, rebrand them, and move them to another thing. A month or two, they're back on the streets. They are killing people, raping, and doing their ATM fraud and all that. So the government should know that whatever is going on right now, as we are speaking, they know about it in DC, they know about it in London, they know about it in Norway. Everybody's online in real time at the same time. So if you just feel, these kids are disturbing me, what do they want to start? Okay, no problem. Just change the name and that's it. It's not going to work like that anymore. It's not going to work like that anymore. This is the first time I've seen any country in the world that I know of, and I've done my own research, that the protest has been going on. This is the second week now.
Yes, this is day 12.
The guy that was shot in Sule, the guy that was shot in the book, nothing has come from the way of the people who are on the road. It's been from the institution who have been doing the shooting. Nothing has been destroyed. They clean up after themselves. They've been feeding themselves. They've been doing the legal work all by themselves. Everything is all arranged and at the expense of government from their own pocket. That should tell you that enough is enough. They have had enough. So you're not going to just come around and sweep them under the rug and say, no, okay, we're going to change. It's not going to work like that. Carry them along. You're working for the people. The government office has to work. It's not yours. You're working for the people. So if you decide that, okay, we have this committee, we are going to make the vice president, this retired judge, these are people that are nominated, put it in a public domain. Let everybody join in at a particular time. Let us see, that the work is being done, the proceedings are going on. Then the people can chill and believe that, okay, they've done 2 or 3 out of the the 5 out of 5 or 7 out of 7 or whatever it's called. And then it's very, but you see the arrogance of the people in government is so part of the culture that they don't feel why. Who are these?
Well, do you think they're arrogant, or the authorities are just at a loss? Hello?
Sorry, I lost you.
Yeah, babe. Yes, I said, do you think that the authorities are arrogant, or they are just as a loss as what to do?
No, but it's all boils down to some form, of arrogance. Because listen, there's a problem in any institution. Let's not even talk about the government. There's a problem in a small company that you and I own. And some of the workers are like, listen, we are disgruntled and already we call HR, do this. Yeah. There are steps to take. It's not what the kids are asking for. They are not asking for that we want to move from here to space and we need to speak with SAR and then you have to. No, it's basic administrative stuff. It's elementary. These are the demands. Okay, you guys go ahead, nominate some guys. Yes, the VP said they are doing this, they've had things with that. You cannot sit down behind closed doors and feel you are doing, the citizens, a favor that you've had some meetings. No, you carry everybody along. It's not your government, it's not your country, it's for everybody else. So don't think you're doing us a favor by saying no. When you wanted to make everything live on air, we are seeing how you are talking with the justice, who you are nominating, what are the decisions, what are they doing about the SARS people that have been killing. Yes, let us know the steps, carry everybody along, and you see that the ease of everything will be up. Getting worse because the government is like, we are going to do it now. We told them that it doesn't work like that anymore. Because the people in power, who have been the same people who have been going around, they sense their sense of being a ruler or entitled to do whatever they want, and anytime they feel like they just piss on us. Yeah, we have done this, and if not, why would any government in a recession? In a recession where there's been a pandemic, you decide to increase the price of fuel and our power,
electricity, and all of that.
That we are already in public. And guess what? These kids are not talking about any of this thing. They are just saying, you know what? We want to stay alive. That's all. I'm a Muslim, and in my mosque group, the WhatsApp group, we have this chat, and some brothers, they say, it's against Islam for you guys to go ahead and do any protest. The guy brought some hadith, and I said, listen, dude, you are mixing it, you are mixing it up. What the Prophet SCW said was that if the leader is not doing the things you expect to do, relax and pray to God and be patient. In this instance, these kids are not demanding for reform in the economic, health, education, roads. We know everything is down, but they are not asking for that. They're saying, stop these people from killing us. We just want to stay alive. And under Islam, what is killing you, you are entitled to defend yourself. But they're not even saying, they're just saying, leave us alone. We want to stay alive. So I told the imam or the guy who did the write-up, I said, you're mixing it up. Do not bring religion into this. People are dying and people are being killed. All the stories of the 68 people, or the amount of guys that were killed, are only a fraction. Do you know how many have been thrown in the bushes that have been killed and slaughtered without any accountability? You can't imagine. It's social media that is making it in the past 3 or 4 years that everybody is seeing the damage has been going. Do you know the amount that's gone on behind the scenes?
Oh,
Rugged
yeah.
Man started this campaign of SARS about 2 or 3 years ago. Before that, last year, they had said something about it. The government said, okay, we've heard. So it's business as usual. But they don't understand that. Because the truth of the fact that the police should be as, be as funded, NPC. There's a certain ratio of the profit of companies in this country and government that goes into a special trust fund for the police. There's enough in that place to look after the police, the Navy, and some other units. But where does this money go?
Where does it go?
They're living like that. Where do they go? And I don't know what the starting salary in the police is, 11,000 or 2,000. How? What do you expect? What do you expect?
That's amazing.
Until the
Olumide
to join, the police is on the same level as you trying to get a job NPC or NPA, then we're just deceiving ourselves. If security is so important that you need to treat it with,
Olumide, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to play a particular video, and that video is one of the most touching things I have seen in a long time. We'll be back shortly after this quick commercial break.
All right.
Hello, Olumide.
Yeah, I'm with you, Habib.
Yeah, I think my picture seems to be frozen on the screen, and I have still the same thing we've been talking about in terms of the quality of the network survey, the network from the ISPs and the likes. There's been a lot of distortion.
I apologize to everybody. I'm caught up in the protest, so I'm out of. I had to operate from inside the car, so just for that.
Yeah, it's okay. Question. These are unique times in Nigerian history. Nigerians have never expected that this type of thing could happen, especially with this generation. Even the president at some point had called them the lazy youth. A lot of people did not realize that there's been a lot of suppression going on. A lot. One of the youth actually was on camera and actually did a video. We're going to play that video now for people to have another insight into the depth of the suppression of the youth.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well. You're not clear anymore.
Can you hear me now? So we'll play this short video so that you can see and understand the depth of the suppression by the youth. We'll be back shortly after this. Viewer discretion advised, please.
I was raped by these motherfuckers last 2 years. They extorted money from me too. I told what my crime, my friends. Our friends not crime. I cannot give birth to a daughter in this kind of country. May they not go rape my daughter tomorrow. May they not go shoot my son tomorrow. Now people begin them, they die for Lagos State. Enter and for this brutality. What my parents could not do, I did.
That's one of the most touching videos. Olumide, are you with us?
Yeah. There was the story. There was the story of of another guy that was recorded at the toll gate last night. His name is Chijoke, and we heard how the guy was shot and moved around, and the family were looking for him everywhere until the dad came out. He was checking among the bodies. There be bodies stacked up in the first place. We are not in the jungle, neither are we at war. Until they saw a pair of glasses. There are so many things heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And if this is not happening now, at the end of the day, the whole country is just gonna turn into a jungle. Because they take the law into their hands and there is no repercussion or no punitive damage. There is no member of SARS that is in prison or is in jail.
It's amazing that those type of things can actually happen and that they can actually get away with it. Like I stated earlier on, if there are no checks and balances, people can always get away with doing stuff. You are the legal profession, and you also know that if you don't give people the room to commit a crime, they probably will not be able to commit that crime. Now, we played a video just 2 minutes ago. Did you see that video?
I didn't. Which one of them?
We'll play that video again because I actually want the viewers to watch that video again. I want everybody to get of a young lady. No, of one young lady. We'll play that video again so that you can understand the magnitude of what is going on in the nation. We'll be back shortly after this.
I was raped by these motherfuckers last 2 years. They extorted money from me too. I told what my crime, my friends. Our friends not crime. I cannot give birth to a daughter in this kind of country. May they not go rape my daughter tomorrow. May they not go shoot my son tomorrow. Now people begin them, they die for Lagos State. Enter and for this brutality. What my parents could not do, I did.
Sorry, we seem to have lost Olumide again. Like I stated earlier on, that is one of the most touching videos I have seen in a very, very long time. I'm not sure that young lady who was featured in that video, I'm not sure she could have been over 16, 17. We have had a campaign that has been going on for several months, and that was a campaign against rape, where we saw that the issue of rape had become of pandemic proportions. 1 out of 4 women, young women in Nigeria, before the age of 18, go through abuse, sexual abuse, rape. Now, a young lady like that would have ordinarily thought that this is something that if she had the guts or the courage to be able to tell her parents should be able to go to the Nigerian police force and report such an incident. But in this case, this young lady is saying that it is actually the police that did that to her. That is how deep a systemic rot there is when you talk of the Nigerian police. Don't get me wrong. There are quite a few good guys in the Nigerian police because I know quite a few myself personally. But how and why did we get to this point? I think we've got Olumide back, and we're going to be asking Olumide that question. Hello, Olumide. Hello.
Abib,
Yeah, Olumide, hi. You're back. Can you hear us?
all this is all part of the struggle.
Yes, it is. It's all part of the struggle, my brother.
It's all part
So,
of
I was just saying, Olumide, how and why did we get here when it comes to the Nigerian police?
yeah, I'm with you.
Can you hear me? I said, how and why did we get here when it comes to the Nigerian police? How and why did we get here when it comes to the Nigerian police?
How can we get together with the Nigerian police?
No, how did things get this bad with the Nigerian police?
Okay, how did things get this bad with the Nigerian police?
Yes.
I guess that's that's what you just asked me. How did
Yeah,
things
that's
get bad?
the question.
You see,
Yeah.
it's not only the Nigerian police. It's not only the Nigerian police. The whole system is bad. They are just unlucky that it's starting from them. Our health, our education, the judiciary, security, everything is upside down. Let's not lie to ourselves. We know how it is when you go to the hospital to try and get whatever for only 2,000 naira. You can't get anything. People are dying for 5,000 naira because they can't buy tiny drugs. The roads are a sham. Our education, syllabus they have been using, nothing has been upgraded in the past 20 years. How? You can see the schools, some of the primary schools and secondary schools outside Lagos. Yeah, Lagos are.
Okay, Olumide, if you can hear us, we have another guest join us on the show. And we're going to be introducing him into the studio. His name is Jawad Igila. So I'm going to bring Jawad onto the screen now. Hello, Jawad.
Hello, nice to be with you again.
It's great to have you on. I don't know, my picture seems to be frozen. So we've been talking about the demands on the ISPs and the kind of challenges, that have cropped up since this protest started,
Okay.
A lot of distortions.
Okay.
So we've been having a chat with Olumide before you came on. I'm sure you've seen quite a few.
Yes, I have.
Quite a few clips that we have played earlier on.
Oh,
And we're just asking Olumide.
Hi, Jawad.
Hello, Olumide. Nice to meet you again. Oh, he's frozen.
Oh, yeah, well, the networks, like we said.
Okay.
So we played a few clips, and then we're asking Olumide how and why we got to this point with the Nigerian police. There were so many things that people have said so far. Olumide was just pointing out now, a few seconds ago, that it's not just the Nigerian police. It seems that it's the whole system that has an issue.
Okay.
That the police are just unfortunate that all this started from them.
Okay.
But I don't think they have been unfortunate. And the reason why I say I don't think they have been unfortunate is because there are a lot of things that they do that is very glaring, especially when it comes to the facts that the average Nigerian might never travel out of Nigeria. So they might not, have anything to do with the customs or the immigration.
Okay.
Part of daily life is seeing policemen because there has to be close interactions between the community and the police. But when you see things like this, so I'm going to play another video clip for you to see and for the viewers to see as well. When you see stuff like this, you now have to start asking yourself several questions. We'll be right back.
Yes.
I will scatter that handset for you.
You will scatter. Very good. Okay. Wind up your window.
Wow. Wow, that's shocking. That is shocking.
Absolutely.
That is shocking.
I don't know.
Oh my God, that is shocking. To think you have the nozzle of a gun pointed at another human being's head. Why?
for recording.
Why? I've always had I think the problem with the police stemmed from one thing. If you look at the police in the UK and police, say, in more saner crimes like, say, Germany and what have you, it's often police by consent, which is the society buys into the idea of the police existing as an apparatus of state. Yeah. So there's the collective goodwill towards the police acting as guardians of the society. Now we come from we have a colonial background, and one of the things we inherit, one of the institutions we inherited was the police. I don't think in the course of our independence we've ever had a time to really look at all those institutions that we inherited, right from the legal framework, the prisons, the police, as it were, to say, what is it about them that we want to take forward, and what is it about them that we need to discard? There's also the issue of training. Who trains our police officers? Do we have the same people who have been training them year on year in, or do we have, like, if you look at the spate of killings in the United States, I'll just digress a bit. There's the inference drawn from the fact that it was the Israelis that came in and gave them training. And if you look at what the Israelis are doing in Palestine, it's not so much as interaction, it's almost subjugation. So you will think that training translates into whatever policy you have on the other side. So who exactly is training our police force? When was the last time anybody has done an audit on the kind of training they've got? So those are the kind of questions that will frame the way the police, as we see it, or police as we deem it to be necessary, goes forward. Because we've been operating in a vacuum. The vacuum of police exists. As what? As custodian of society, as a gatekeeper, as an extortion racket, which this clearly is.
It is.
So you have a host of questions to ask. But then the thing is, we live in a society where we ask questions, but we're information deficient as well. Nobody has answers to any. Even if they do, the answers they have are going to be quite uncomfortable to give. So oftentimes, I know what they end up doing is just, keeping status quo, which is what has been going on since time immemorial.
Well, we did ask a question about the training of the Nigerian police force,
Okay.
and somebody was kind enough to send us this video. We'll be right back shortly after this.
And don't forget that these arms we are carrying around was purchased for us with the money gotten from members of the community. They are paying us to protect members of the public. So make we come carry that same gun, they kill members of the public, where we're supposed to protect. They can never be happy with us. Very few of us will spoil the name of the police. For God's sake, why carry gun, cock gun, for where many people dey? Maybe we don't forget that thing wey dem teach us for academy now, or wey they teach us for police college. And I don't forget, then talk say it is better to allow armed robber to escape than to kill what? Thank you. It is better to allow even armed robber to escape than to kill one innocent person. And I don't forget.
Now, you can see the quality of the interaction between the senior officer.
I was going to highlight that fact. I was going to. You frozen.
So how and why did we get to this point when it comes to the Nigerian police force?
Okay. You're talking first and foremost. I don't know if that was supposed to be just a talk or it was supposed to be a training sessions.
Or a briefing.
Or a briefing, exactly. So, okay, I will assume it's a briefing. And even if it's a briefing, why do you have a police officer, a police force that is constantly under arms? Why? Why?
Assault rifles.
Exactly. I mean, call it what it is. I mean, assault rifles, pistols, and what have you. If you're policing by consent, which is you're there because the people feel the need for you to be there, there is no need to announce your presence with arms.
Oh yeah.
Or to reassure anybody with arms. Your presence alone should be a deterrent. Yes, we operate in a society where there are, of course, there are nefarious characters, but that is few and far between. And if you structure the police force in such a way that they can respond if there is need to, I don't see any reason why everyone and anyone should bear arms. Here in the UK, you have the armed squad, but it's not brazen. It's not in your face. It's not brazen. It's not in your face. If the guns need to come out, the guns will come out. And when they do come out, it is lethal. So you understand that has to be a last resort. I was during the uproar of summer, there was a statistics done of police force and how many little interactions they had. Germany had only 2 in the last 3 years.
Only 2 face shootings.
Exactly. Yeah. In the last 3 years. Norway had none. In the last 5 years. Of course, we know America surpasses everybody. Now, because we don't keep statistics, how are we to know if we're not near that number? Because, I mean, I've been watching some of the protests, some of the posts and what have you. There's a post going on where the names of victims have been listed. And it's sad that those people never had a voice, that it only took this protest to highlight the fact that that level of killing is not a one-off, but rather a culture.
Oh yeah.
And a shocking culture at that. Because half of the interaction that has come off, as you can see from that video you showed earlier, was one of extortion.
Oh yeah. In a lot of cases, we have heard of the various complaints people have made about how they were extorted.
Mm-hmm.
But when people talk about extortion, some other people, I don't know if they're making excuses. I don't know if they're trying to justify what is being done, or it's just simply a case of they are living up to the realities of the day. And which is the case of the financing, the training,
Mm-hmm.
and the service conditions of the Nigerian police.
Okay.
So one of our viewers is asking a question. Her name is Odunola Ajibola. She says, do we have a part to play in how policing is carried out in Nigeria?
Okay.
Do we? Because they seem to be a very closed organization. Things happen. There's no accountability. There's no known process, even if you do have complaints. So how do we participate in policing in Nigeria?
Okay. I opened my earlier premise in the first place, and I said the first thing we need to do is look at the structure of the police from what we've inherited in terms of our colonial legacy. The police, as we got it, was one of you do as you're told, there's no speaking back. So
the master syndrome.
Thank you very much. So you have to understand we got it from the colonials, and so it was one of this is how we're going to police the natives. The natives have to do as we are told, and usually the people that went in the police force are people who have been quote unquote ostracized in society. So they saw it as a power game, as as an ego trip. Now we've come out of that, and now we're quote unquote independent, as it were. Now, if that is the case, surely there should be like a citizen review board for police actions and interactions with citizenry.
An
on a
ombudsman,
national scale.
an ombudsman of some sort.
Thank you very much. Just like we have I think it's the IPCC here, you have that sort of thing where there is an overarching body that looks into interactions where someone has been killed by the police. First and foremost, you pull those whoever is involved, you pull them off the beat for a while. You investigate the peculiarities of that case. If the case is found against, you deal with them as it were. You throw them off the force and you deal with them with the full weight of the law. Yeah. And if not, it could be a case of retraining. But because there is no consequence for them in terms of, one, the police are not fined, the perpetrator of the crime sees it as, one per course.
Yeah.
Who is going to hold them to account? And there is no framework in place.
Yeah, we could see that from that. I mean, like from that police officer who was actually pointing that rifle and saying, "I go scatter that phone, or I go smash that phone, or something."
Now imagine if that was a training video. Imagine if that was a training video. You would know not to do it. That should be part of the training video. You would know not to interact. I mean, that could have been a child who is there. And a gun, essentially, when it goes off, it goes off. It doesn't discriminate.
Oh, yeah.
It goes off, it goes off. And these guns that these guys are given, half of the time they don't even maintain them.
Yeah, that didn't look maintained because it looked
exactly
muddied and rusty. I mean, rusty and all that.
Exactly. So you just need, who knows if the gun is on safety? Yeah,
but you do see them cocking. You see them, I mean, even talking to you on the streets, and then the first thing they're doing is they're cocking the rifles and all of that. And you're wondering, why are you cocking a rifle talking to an unarmed civilian for even a traffic stop in broad daylight?
It might not be a legitimate traffic stop. In half of the times, it never is a legitimate traffic stop. It's one of extortion. Okay, that aside, there was a video I saw earlier, and there was this policeman who was basically saying, if they cancel SARS, how is he going to take care of his mother and everything? And I'm thinking, is that why you joined the police force? To extort people and basically take care of your mother? Would your mother not ask you how you came about? You get paid once a month. Yes, you get paid once a month. Surely she knows she has an idea of what your salary is.
Yes.
And then, so if you bring in more than you're supposed to be earning, the logical conclusion is you've gotten it from nefarious ways. I mean, I could go on and on. The examples are innumerable. Some of kids coming back from the UK, the United States, and because, they've come back and they're staying in one apartment on their own, these guys have gone in to kill them and rob them. Can you imagine that?
This is pretty distressing.
Very distressing.
Yeah. Now, I understand that, like a couple of people have said, the NSAS protest is simply a case of the NSAS is the launch pad for social reform.
Yeah.
Now, these kids, pardon me calling them kids, the youth in Nigeria, they seem to be very organized.
Okay.
Quite organized. Considering the fact that the president at some point called them the lazy youth. I don't know if he was, taken out of context or not, but we've seen that a lot of the times we ourselves have been worried about the fact that they were willing to invest more of their time in entertainment, especially when it comes to stuff like Big Brother Nigeria and stuff like that.
True.
And we looked at them with disdain.
Yeah.
But personally, to my utter surprise, they are so organized that even after each day of protests, they clean up. They're able to organize food. They're able to organize lawyers. They're able to organize ambulances. What does this pretend? Is this another form of Arab Spring? What does this truly pretend? What do you see happening going forward?
I think what we see are boarding shoots of order, first and foremost.
Okay.
Okay. Order in the terms that if you come and you organize an event, and then you have the mind and wherewithal to clean after yourself, first and foremost, that is kudos in itself. I mean, we're all from homes where basically the mantra is you leave things as you met them.
Yes.
So essentially, nobody's going to clean up after you. So if you're taking that onto the streets, imagine if every corner of the society did that. There won't be any refuse in the streets. So that's one. Now, the fact that you know it is necessary enough to engage lawyers in the spirit of a protest, know there is laws in place, and you're working within the framework of the legal framework within that society. So you respect laws. Again, order comes into play. The organization in itself has been largely via the internet, via social media, and what have you. So they're speaking to each other. Communication. Again, order. We don't have that. We speak to ourselves in pockets, here and there. You and I might see it occasionally. We'll chat. We'll chat with the next person, but there is no concise, there is no organic conversation going on. We speak on so many things. SARS is a focus point. Is a focal point. And to buttress your point, if they come there and their idea is, okay, SARS first, whatever next, people will listen. Because, okay, say the name of SARS was changed from SARS to SWAT. I mean, that's a topic for another day.
Oh, well, I mean, that in itself, I was shocked that happened when it happened.
Exactly. But at least there's still the laser focus there to say this in its present form will not be allowed to stand. So if you know enough to change it, whoever changed it knows that as a matter of fact, this thing is not working. So what else are we looking at? We're looking at funding for education. Then we'll look at the ways these laws itself are made. Who are making those laws? And the people who are making these laws, what are they getting away with? Because I think that is ultimately where the goal should be. For me, that is it.
Yeah.
Because the Nigerian question, it's 60 years from the day. We have to ask the question, this Nigeria, for the next 60 years, are we okay with it as it is? If not, what do we chuck? What do we reform? And which way are we going as a country? Are we still going to have that 36 emperors? Or we're going to decide, you know what, we'll go to a regional body and move ourselves forward? There are so many questions these guys are asking implicitly. People who study history know that revolutions like this don't ask one question. They ask multiple questions, but it's only people that listen, that understand that just because they said, my door handle is gone, doesn't mean they're just talking about the door. They're talking about the framework of the house.
Of the house.
So Nigeria as a house, does it have promise for us? That's the question they're asking. And if so, if he does have promise, what sort of promise are we getting? And this promise we are getting, is it what we expect of? I mean, come on. It's sad to think of, but let's.
Okay, but recently, the Federal Ministry of Youth on Sports launched a 75 billion naira youth investment fund.
Yes.
Now, this youth investment fund is supposed to be something like an alleviation for the youth to help them launch small businesses or to help them run the businesses that they already have going on.
Okay.
I would have expected ordinarily, but with the richness of Nigeria in terms of human resources and how brilliant and resilient Nigerians are, that this would have been something that would have been done several years ago. We should be exporting services by now as a country.
True.
Now, did they do this
In response?
in a rush fashion in order to seem to be working and all of that? Because right now it seems what the minister is saying is that's Sunday Dare, that's the name of the minister. What he seems to be saying is that already they have 10.5 billion naira readily available that's been provided by the CBN.
Okay.
And in the 2021 budget, that they are also going to be providing the rest of the funding. Is this a rush thing?
I think it is. I think it's an act to be seen to be doing something. Okay, if you and I went into the budget, the current year's budget,
Yes,
I will wager you a bet that you won't find that 10 billion there.
But you do have what you call the appropriations. You have the appropriations.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So you could possibly have come
I
out
mean,
of
you also do have what is called extra budgetary expenses, but that is
expenses. Yes.
That is, if that happens, this is a plan. So the idea is we've spent money that we did not know we would need to spend. Not we plan to spend money we did not know we were planning to spend. Is it different? So somebody is just plucked out the money in the air and just decided, you know what, put that out there, give them a headline. I'll probably simmer them down. And there was also the thing that the schools that were out in session and ASU was on strike, all of a sudden they're announcing that they've come to an agreement with ASU. How?
And ASU is be settled so that students can go back to school.
Thank you very much. Get these guys off the streets so that there's no confluence of thought.
Yeah.
I mean, if I pull you in from different states into one university, you will have a different way of looking at it before you even settle to say, oh, we have some unfinished business. The class will have begun, everybody will focus, and that's it. That's that problem dissipated. But as long as they are out there, the mind is focused. This is what we're chasing. Now, Mr. Dare comes out and says, well, we're going to spend X amount on this, we're going to spend X amount on that. Where's the framework? I can give you money, but if I don't create the atmosphere for the money to be impactful, I might as well just throw the proverbial at the wall and hope it sticks. Which is what they're doing now.
But what I find curious about when we were in the university and there were these types of protests.
Yeah.
The government always preferred that the schools were shut down and we were at home because we could coordinate much less.
But there was no social media.
But because there was no social media at that point.
Thank you very much.
But now, but at that point, universities especially were a hotbed.
True.
Of social reform.
True.
And a lot of protests across the country started from universities. I could remember the Hope 93 protests and all that.
Yeah.
They had to shut the universities because that was where students could get properly organized. Now, is it not ironical that now they're trying to get the students back into school, where the students that his mother or the father told him, you know what, don't go out to go and protest. I don't want you to get shot, blah, 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 blah. It's not ironical that that student is going to then go back to school where his father and his mother cannot monitor him. And then they can now effectively organize themselves all over again and then hit the streets.
Yes. Yeah, but then you've created what the authorities are hoping is, we've decided, okay, you guys are going to school next week. Okay, say Friday.
Yeah.
So the guys are in the street right now are planning. Okay, say the idea is Friday they're going back to school. So the mindset now is, oh, we're going back to school on Friday. We have to start preparing, getting stuff together and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
That pulls them off the street. That's one. It dissipates the anger on the street for a while. Yeah.
Supposedly.
Now, supposedly, yeah, okay. And this guy they get to their school. By the time they get to the school, the idea is there's a 1 second week incubation period of let's get our feet underneath the table and understand what it is, where we're at, and how we're going. By the time that happens, who knows? The energy might have been gone from the protest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, that's the hope for them. Now, the flip side of that is it then focuses the energy, because the moment you go into a university and you invoke the name of that university as a student of that university, the affinity is to belong.
Yeah.
You then hold tenuously to the spirit of that movement in there. So I think in a way, these guys are not really thinking these things through, which is why when Mr. Dare came up with the idea that 75 billion, it's like these guys are just hoping that this thing goes away. Rather than, okay, I mean, if I were them, I would say, okay, the police force. What is it about the police force that you do not like as it is presently constituted?
Yeah.
We listen. We say, okay, you know what? Societies have always policed themselves better. We all know that.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. There was a movement at the time when they said there was a regional body that was going to take care of security in the Western region and what have you. Yeah? So that's a model. That's a model. In the interim, while we're looking at how to refashion this thing we call the National Police Force, do we go to a state model and just have, quote unquote, an FBI style federal police? Yeah.
FBI style federal police.
Yeah.
We
already have one. It's called the DSS. Yes, I think. Yeah. So we already have one. So, because I think the idea of having this national police force that is in every state is counterintuitive. If you bring a policeman from, say, Kano to a place like Cross Rivers, culturally at odd, there is no synergy.
Mm-hmm.
But if the guy who is policing the local government is from that neighborhood, who is policing the state is from that state, like
who has a vested interest in the development of his community.
Thank you very much. And we know who is policing us.
Yes.
So that way we're not shortchanged. If you cross into somewhere like Kaduna, if you're going to deal with the Kaduna police force, you have to know what their laws are, what have you. I mean, we'll have like common laws, but then again, regional areas will have their own cultural.
There will be some cultural sensitivity.
Yes. So maybe that's the way to go. But this idea of every time there is a problem, we just throw money at a problem, I think that has outlived its usefulness. Seriously. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. Okay,
But the
75.
question is, do we even have the money?
Well, that's another issue. So basically, we're printing money because I don't think that 10 billion was in the Fed. It was in the budget in the first place. And then you're going to bring another 65 billion in going forward. From where?
Yeah.
From where? Universities are suffering. In fact, the entire educational structure, we had a chart on it a while back, has suffered. Now you've brought 75 billion out of nowhere, and here you go, 75 billion. And then what? And then what? So, okay, you've given us 75 billion. The police that we claim to have a problem with is still out there. Now they know you have 75 billion again. What do you think is going to happen?
So they're going to go after them again. And then
Hey. You were claiming before you didn't have money. But God give you 75 billion now. Oh, yeah. Where my own? You see, catch 22.
This is a very, very serious and worrying situation. Although I've started to have some hope, especially when I look at the level of organization and how this thing seems to be mushrooming every day. And even though it is mushrooming, they are still trying their best to keep it under tabs and make sure that it is consistently a peaceful protest.
True.
But how long can this last?
Well, again, it goes back to the idea that I don't think this is a one issue protest.
No, it definitely isn't. It definitely, for me, I actually look at it and I started to wonder, is this not another Arab Spring?
That's it. That's it. It's not, for me, it's not, I mean, okay, fine. SARS focuses the mind. It focuses the mind because, I mean, you just need to enter that society for a week. You will see what it is these guys are experiencing. Yes, we might float in and float out, but at some point we would interject with that element of it. And we probably got a few spare change to get ourselves out of any potential hassle.
Yeah.
But these guys don't. They leave it day in, day out. An example of it is this. These guys extort the guys who are driving you to work. It impacts your transportational cost. So you can't really plan on a fixed income. They extort the guys who bring the foodstuff into the market. The guy in the market has to pay the going rate for whatever the transportational cost is. It impacts you. The guy who is bringing stuff that you're going to buy, you know, your dresses and what have you into the market is extorted as well. It's going to impact you as well. So if you can stop the extortion, you can pipe down the pressure for a while. People would get a sense of normalcy, plan their lives. I mean, it's a struggle. It's a daily struggle. But which is why I don't think it is a one-issue protest. NSARS is just one thing.
Oh, it definitely isn't a one-issue protest because we saw that it started with the hashtag NSARS.
Okay.
And then it went to hashtag end police brutality.
Yeah.
And then when the police high command deemed it fit to scrap SARS and almost
rebranded.
Well, yeah, probably rebrand and called it SWAT. I don't know what it is that they were trying to achieve by immediately constituting another special tactical unit at this particular point in time. But we saw that as soon as that came up, the next thing we saw was the hashtag end SWAT. And then the next thing, a couple of politicians came out and they were trying to make a statement to the people. And then the people now came up and said, shut up.
We're
They
coming
now
for
came
you.
up with, they now came up with the hashtag saying end to bad governance. And then another hashtag, Sorosoke weary. I mean, for me, that took me on a 360-degree spin because I was like,
Exactly.
seriously? What is this Sorosoke weary? You know, and somebody now sent me a video clip of something related to the Sorosoke weary, where it started from and all of that. But I saw that quite a few politicians, you know, have attempted to say something and they've gone at them and they said, you know what, don't speak.
It's true. You see, another thing we have the politicians, sorry, I've generalized a bit there. What the politicians in Nigeria have is they have a high level of cognitive dissonance.
That seems to be becoming much, much more apparent.
No, I mean, it is so strong in these politicians that it is beyond parody. It is beyond parody. You're chiseling at a wall and the wall is cracking. And you're pointing at somebody else that, can you see the wall is cracking? Hello, you're the one there.
Yeah.
How is it that a politician can earn 12 million pounds or $12 million or however million it is
Per
annum in a society where the minimum income is 30,000 naira?
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. Newspaper allowance, especially when you come talk about the National Assembly. So you have newspaper allowance.
You even want to break. I mean, that's even breaking it down. The very idea that you look at your pay slip and it's written 12 million of whatever currency in a society where the average income is 30,000 naira.
Oh yeah, you're quite correct. So if somebody's earning 30,000 naira, and then you now say you want to pay a National Assembly member 1 million naira, for instance. So I mean, they're going to look at the disparity: 30,000 naira to 1 million naira.
Exactly.
Much less. Now looking at it in terms of the currency exchange, the value which is in dollars,
and that is not even to talk about the side issue of lobbyists coming in, asking you to make laws that are favorable to their area of industry and what have you. But the fact that come what come may, this guy takes home $12 million without batting an eyelid. He doesn't see himself as part of the problem. I'm lost for words. And
well, this is what one of the viewers had to say. You know, okay, well, he said with the lockdown restricted movement, lots of them are on half salaries or zero wages. That's for the youths.
Okay.
But I think the one I actually wanted to pick out was when she said, yes, this is it. So when people's needs are not met, they Sorosoke. They need their needs to be met.
True.
And it's true because when you look at it, especially with what you just highlighted now, for instance, where the minimum wage is 30,000 naira. And if the National Assembly members, for instance, were being paid 1 million naira, there would have still been an equal uproar over the fact that disparity was massive.
It's massive.
Especially considering the fact that these people are there supposedly to serve, and then you're paying them that much. How does that translate into good service? How does that translate into adequate representation? But when you now look at it from 30,000 naira to $1 million, that's a totally different ball.
Different conversation.
It's a totally different. In fact, this is what one of our viewers had to say. She said, in fact, the senator's pay per annum is giving me a heart attack. How can they sleep with both eyes closed?
He beggars belief. He beggars belief. Okay, you're saying effectively that you earn that money. The guy who is providing you security Oh, okay. Let's not even say the guy who's providing security is is too close to you to be earning that kind of money. He will probably get buffered. His pay will probably get buffered. The guy you drive past at the gates of the National Assembly is on those wages.
On those same wages.
So now, if these guys were to march to that assembly, yes, and he's on those wages, and they highlight the fact that he's on these wages, they're on that wages, would you think he would give his life for you? He will open the gates and let them come and have their conversation with you.
Most definitely.
Therein, I mean, these guys, okay, we have we don't even know what the inflation rate is in Nigeria.
Oh well,
So we won't even go there. So we won't even go there. But if we just look at the amounts side by side, you have to be someone of a heart of stone to look at it and just think, oh, well, I'm being paid that amount. Well, I probably deserve it. No human being, except you're selling a product, of course. But if you're serving the people, let the people determine your wages.
Oh, yeah.
And be grateful for doing them a service. You are there to serve, not for them to serve you. And I think that has always been the problem. These guys are there to serve themselves. This is the reason why someone like Dele Udo in 1984 gets killed. Yeah. And fast forward, I think it was 1996, George Finidi's brother got killed in Port Harcourt. And fast forward, 2020, you're still talking about the same thing.
Oh, yeah, the same thing.
And in spite of those leap of time, there has been killings in between. There has been killings in between.
Some of the people that probably not some of the people, probably the most affected when it comes to the issue of these killings, when it comes to the police, are women.
Yeah.
They, whether you're male or female, you are born by a woman.
True, true.
They are the ones that suffer and carry most of the trauma. Some of them, unfortunately, even get to encounter these police officers directly, and like that young lady that we played a video of her a short while ago, gets sexually assaulted by this police, and there's nobody to report to the police to. Now, we know that women have always played a very, very strong part in development of Nigeria. I mean, even for us from a radio, our strongest supporters are women. Usually when we are online, most of the viewers are women. As far back as 1929, we had the Aba market women's riots.
Yeah.
And they changed the course of events when it came to the issue of taxation.
True.
Right now, we can see that there are a lot of women at the front lines in terms of these NSAS protests.
Okay.
Recently, a mother, somebody who's of retirement age, who's actually about 72, read in the newspapers, or was it online, that the army were threatening to come out onto the streets to try to put these protests under control. Okay. And the woman was heard saying, I need to reach out to my friends. We need to start organizing ourselves, because once the army come out, we have to go to the front of the line.
Mothers of revolution.
And let them know that before they can get to our children, they have to pass through us first.
Okay.
What do you think that women should do at this point, especially women that fall into that age bracket? What do you think that they can do?
Thank you very much. First things first, the vice president is married to a member of the Awolowo clan.
Yes.
What is he doing?
Hmm.
The Awolowo clan is steeped in socialism. Socialism is about the people. Buhari, okay, he came to Chatham House. He claims he's now a Democrat. Aisha Buhari went to ABU, Zaria. She's got friends. Women.
Yes.
They should talk to her. Most of these military guys that are married, they're married to women. They have girl kids. Those kids are going to become mothers. We're all, as Thomas Sankara said, we're all mothers of this revolution. We carry it forward.
Yeah.
It's not just about, okay, fine, it's about, protest is often about the idea that you don't see something and you speak up and you try to reform it. But it's also about the unseen hand.
You Sorosuke.
Yes. It's also about the unseen hand. And the unseen hand is, it will be somewhat hypocritical to think someone claims to be a first lady of a state, a first lady of a local government, and a first lady of a country. And then your husband, by virtue of his office, instructs the instrument of state to come out and crush a citizen outcry. Then you're not having you don't have a democracy. It is either a democracy or an authoritarian regime.
Oh yeah.
You can't have there is no hybrid. It is either or. So for me personally, that is the first stake. The Awolowos should speak to their daughter, to speak to their son-in-law, to say, this is not proper.
Oh yeah.
You're a lawyer. In fact, he's a lawyer.
Oh yeah. He is.
Exactly. He's a lawyer.
He's a professor, as a matter of fact.
A professor. Yes. So where is it in the Constitution that you will invoke? The army is a killing machine. The army is not about controlling protest, which is why they say the occupational hazard of an army is death.
Oh yeah.
So when they go out, the idea is not to kill. The idea is not to be killed. So if they go out with that frame mindset of killing, it will be a bloodbath. With the police, you can still call them to order, because half of the time they're civilians. They're still civilians, whether they wear uniform or not. They're civilians. So my idea is this: start with those first ladies. Police your husbands. Talk to them. Listen to these kids. Sorry, listen to these youths.
Oh yeah, because they're not kids anymore. They've shown us now that they can't be called kids anymore because
exactly they have a message. They have a message for you. They have a message for you, and they're speaking. And I'll say this. In the last survey done by the United Nations with regards to demographics, the age population in Nigeria is largely 50%. What's 50%? 60% between 30 and 16.
Yeah.
60%.
60%, yes.
So if it's 60%, what you're effectively saying is 40% is stepping on the windpipe of the future of
less than 40%, because you still have people like myself, who still fall under the
you straddle.
So when you look at it, you have less than 2% of the population holding the entire country to ransom for generations.
So if that is the case, at some point something's got to give. They say there's a saying: those who make peaceful change impossible make violent change the norm. It will happen.
Yeah.
Because the news reports was an attempt was made on the life of the Osun State governor. I don't think it was an attempt as such. It was more or less like to call him to order. But in the north, there was beating handed out to a representative.
Oh yes, we saw videos of that as well. But unfortunately, we could not air that.
Yeah, I know. We
do not want to be seen to
be advocating for violence. To be advocating for violence.
Yes.
Yeah, to be advocating for violence. But again, that is people's frustration coming to the fore. Because if you do not listen to them, they will make you listen. Elections is a circle. Every 4 years, every 2 years, every 5 years, whenever.
Yeah.
It's a circle. But that circle in itself is a circuit breaker. Protests is actually the voice of the people. Because when they come out with their placards and everything, they're telling you at that point in time, this is where their reasoning is. Election is a marketing exercise. Oh, if you vote for me, I'll do this. If you vote for me, I'll do that. If you vote, so half of the time you're marketing, you're selling. But when they protest, they are telling you that
they're making demands.
This is not happening.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
The question is, like somebody said, our generation has to step back, look, and watch.
Oh yes, most definitely. Most definitely, because for us,
it's really about us. We're observers.
We don't mind taking to the streets as well. But even if we do take to the streets, we are not going to be. We're not going to be at the front seats. We're going to be definitely at the back.
We have to go to the back.
But on a closing note, what we will say is this. Like we said, most of the people that watch or support us from on radio are women. We are going to appeal to them as much as possible.
Yeah.
You all have links. You have the 6 degrees of separation. So you always know somebody that knows the person that you actually have in mind to reach out to.
True.
I think it's time women started selecting women in power, either spouses of somebody in power or women that actually have political office.
Yep.
I think it's time women start coordinating themselves and using the likes of Twitter and Facebook, bombard their inboxes, send them those messages, get those messages across to them and tell them, look, these are our children, these are our brothers, these are our sisters. They are young people, they have a whole life ahead of them.
If anything happens to them, we'll hold you responsible.
No, you don't even have to take that approach. You could still take the approach of you're still pleading with them. You could still take the approach of letting them know that they probably do have the power, maybe over life and death, yes. But you're looking at them and you're telling them, please, we need your assistance. We need to change things. We need to make things work. We need to have a better country so that our children, our younger ones, brothers, sisters, can grow up and live in a safe environment. A lot of people are not happy about the fact that they've had to pack up their stuff and leave Nigeria. They would love to be in their fatherland or their motherland.
True.
Depending on which direction you look at it from or which perspective. A lot of them would love to be here. And Nigeria has one of the best weathers in the world. You have a topography that is mind-boggling. You have vast resources. So a lot can be done in Nigeria. But we all need to be able to look at ourselves and tell ourselves some stark realities.
True.
Women naturally have that ability to pass that message of stark reality across. They know how to make that message sound the way it needs to sound. So I'm going to appeal to the women. Remember the 1929 about women's riots.
Yep.
Then remember the likes of Belewura as well. Then remember the likes of Fumilayo, Ransom Kuti as well. You all know the impact that they made. And we know that you are also capable of making that level of impact at this point in time as well. So we would appeal to you, please select your friends that, you know, are spouses of people in power or they are in power themselves.
Yeah.
Get your other friends, coordinate, send text messages, send tweets, send inbox messages on Facebook, Instagram, and whatnot. And we know that things will definitely change. We might not be the ones to change. Like I said to, or rather, somebody said to me yesterday, he said, Habib, our age, this is our retirement policy from politics, the end SARS protests. So let's do things the way it should be done. Let's give the support to these young people who are trying to make a change. We have done our own. We did the Hope 93 and we did all the ASU strikes and all whatnot in trying to get social reform in the country, but we're not able to do it in an organized fashion, the way these guys have been able to achieve level of organization.
Sure.
So let's give them our support for them being able to do what we were not able to do. Jawad, thank you very, very much for coming on the show again.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
We still have a lot to talk about, especially considering what is going on in terms of social policy, social reform, history of Nigeria, how that is partly responsible for the way things are. And I'm sure our guests will be thrilled to hear you because of your depth of knowledge when it comes to that particular topic. Thank you very much. You have a fantastic night.
You too. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. So for viewers, we didn't know how to end this show because this show could go on and on and on and on and on. We've done an hour, 40 minutes almost at this point. Because like I said, when this show was starting, that this is a historic time in Nigeria's history. We know that something is about to give. Is it the Arab Spring? We have no idea. But what we do know is this. Things are changing. Most definitely. Fortunately or unfortunately, our social campaign on the issue of rape has come way to the fore again with the End SARS protests, where several young women have come out and they've been talking about their experience. Some young, some middle-aged. So you do know for a fact that the pandemic is real when it comes to the issue of rape. 25% of women, 1 out of 4 before the age of 18, actually go through that torturous, arduous, life-changing, negatively life-changing experience. So at some point, please remember, follow the hashtag no to rape. Tweet something, post something. Let's protect our women because we need our women to run a healthy nation. We need our women to continue to give us the type of support that they do in building our nation or our nations. Let's fight against rape. Now, the spikes all over Europe, there's a second wave coming up. COVID-19 is still very real. And like we always say, please take good care of yourself. Wash your hands as often as possible. Maintain a safe distance. Recommended distance is 2 meters. And please wash your hands as often as possible. Let's stay safe. Let's try and get this pandemic of COVID-19 under control as early as possible. So even the new norm can be a norm that's acceptable to others. We are very grateful to all the women, especially the Nigerian women that are giving us and showing us so much support. Like we said, they are the vast majority when it comes to the support that they're giving us on fromaradio.com. And we'll continue to forever be grateful. And we'll also make sure that we focus on our women-oriented programs to make sure that we keep supporting those same women, because without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. You continue with the NSAS protests. We'll continue to try and share as much of the news that we get access to you on our social handles. Don't forget, please follow us on all our social handles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. As a matter of fact, we are trying to get our YouTube to the next stage. We want to get a minimum of 2,000 followers on YouTube. So please go and subscribe. And then don't forget to press a tiny bell pop beside it so that anytime we go live, you get a notification. We thank you very, very much. And day 15, day 16, day 17, day 20 of the NSAS protests, we hope something gives, something changes, and things remain peaceful till there's an adequate resolution on the issue of social reforms in Nigeria. Thank you very much, everybody. You have a fantastic night, and we'll see you again on Thursday on our next edition of Just Banter. Have a great night. Good night.